Hi, I'm Pinny Grylls.
I'm Sam Crane.
And we are the directors of
Grand Theft Hamlet.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Grand Theft Hamlet.
Because you're a madman.
Yeah, basically. Well, it sort of came out of existential crisis, grief at not being able to do the thing that I sort of define myself as, a kind of theatre actor. This was at a time in the third lockdown where people had tried to open up, they tried to put shows on again, and everything got kind of slammed back shut again. And there was a possibility that we'd never be able to do theatre in its normal form again.
There were lots of kind of people doing, Zoom Shakespeare, and we thought actually there must be something better than this. And I think it was when we were going on our daily walk with our son, and he was telling us about this YouTuber that he was watching called Dream, who was basically making a kind of live theatre piece.
Kind of like a soap opera, really, like semi-improvised inside Minecraft. I didn't really understand that you could do that in a video game, so that kind of opened up that world for me. Started playing GTA a lot and was kind of blown away by that world and the beauty of it. And then when I was playing with Mark, and then we stumbled across this theatre space that's a bit, not too dissimilar to this. It's like a big outdoor theatre space, and it just seemed like, wow, there's a potential here.
And you were just messing around, actually.
It's like dodgems.
I think a lot of it came from not a very serious place. I think that the lockdown put us into this kind of quite childlike place. Let's just try something because we've got nothing to lose.
It's fun and it's naughty and it's cheeky. It does remind me a bit of being here, actually. That kind of irreverence for theatre where, people will just come in and out. Okay, they don't blow you up with a RPG here. Well, hopefully not.
Don't shoot us, please. Don't shoot us. Yeah.
Well, there was this fantastic quote in a New Yorker.
Anthony Lane.
Anthony Lane wrote about the film.
Don't think of it as a film, think of it as a crucible in which the solid forms of theatre, film, gaming are stirred together until they melt. So I love that.
And I think that what happened with the film is that there was a sort of conversation that was started between those three different art forms. One of the moments when I thought that conversation really took off and I knew what the film was going to be was when I edited the dive bar scene. And Sam started doing To Be or Not To Be, but in this dive bar where there was this kind of bar brawl going on. And those NPCs, they were almost like suddenly witnessing what we were doing. It felt like the game was starting to watch what we were doing. It was quite an uncanny feeling.
There's a connection of liveness that comes through. Obviously in performance, in theatre, it's all about being live, but also in online games, it is all about having this live experience with other people. You're kind of co-present with them in the same digital space, in the same time.
I also, just to say, there's this interesting thing between the word player, which is the player on the stage, which is what Shakespeare used to call actors. And then, of course, the player in the game, and I do think that underneath this whole project is this word play, which I think, is something that is done improvisationally, which is why I think it had to be a documentary that we made.
And so Hamlet, he talks about to be or not to be. So we're just trying to kind of think about that, what that really means.
Yeah, we were really influenced, actually. As we kind of moved into it, we realised what we were doing was making machinima, which we didn't know anything about before. I mean, the sign for machinima is, I think machinima, that's how I do it. But for people who don't know, it's basically making cinema, making films inside game engines. And it's something that's been going on for 20 years or so. I went to go and see this artist called Jackie Connolly, who was making films inside The Sims, but also in Grand Theft Auto. And she had made these very cinematic, very still, beautiful films, which I think with the game engines that had been modded. But nevertheless, it gave me the idea that you could make cinema inside a game. And so she was a massive influence on me as a filmmaker. And I have to say, when I was editing the film as well, I wanted it to be a tight 90 minutes. I wanted it to be an entertaining film. Sam and I are like massive fans of like 80s blockbuster movies. So we like things like, you know, Back to the Future. It was like, that's what we were raised on. That's what was our, you know, our cornflakes, you know. So, I mean, I really think that that was a big influence on the film, like trying to make something that felt like you were on the edge of your seat and it was super exciting to watch.
run, 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 run. We can get out of here as soon as possible.
I actually really enjoyed a film that was actually on MUBI. It's called In Camera. Nakesh Khalid, who I know and I met because we were both BFI Chanel award winners this year. I love films about performance and about acting, and I've made lots of films about that.
Yeah, it's such a great film. That the performances in it are absolutely incredible. That kind of fragile experience of self you have as an actor as well, that's really interesting. Another one, I don't know if you saw this, A Different Man, which is, again, also about performance and identity. It's got a kind of feeling of like those 70s Scorsese films in New York as well.
And that's also about representation, isn't it? And about
it's really,
being somebody else and how other people see you. The strangeness that humans have of pretending to be somebody else.
I am thy father's spirit.
First of all, I hope they have a lot of fun watching it. I think people really like analysing the film. They really like thinking about those intersections between Shakespeare and Grand Theft Auto.
It's nice for people who maybe haven't experienced video games and have a certain preconception about them to be maybe surprised at what you can discover in this world and how kind of open and free and beautiful and sophisticated it can be. And likewise, on the other side, people who maybe have preconceptions about Shakespeare, thinking, oh, it's not for me, it's boring, you know, you have to be super educated, you have to have studied it, you have to really understand what's going on before you watch it, that maybe they can find something in it that is surprising, funny, and a bit crazy.
Grand Theft Hamlet is now streaming exclusively on MUBI. We hope you enjoy the film.